Hi everybody. Let me introduce Marco Signorelli. He's part of ShapeBlue, and he will be now talking about migration and transitioning from VMware vCloud into Apache CloudStack. Big round of applause for Marco.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you guys for coming here. Thank you for the sponsors for the event. So I want to address here recent concerns related with the VMware acquisition and what you can do related to this issue related with the acquisition. So there is many concerns around that. About me, I am technical market manager at ShapeBlue. Previously, I was a consultant manager at ShapeBlue Brazil. So, and worked with open source for a long time. I think more than some people here so young, I think more than the age they have. So, and work with virtualization from 2004. I started with Zen in that time, so I'm very passionate about virtualization technology in CloudStack, in cloud technology. So, committed at Apache CloudStack from 2015. The agenda today I wanted to address is related with basically looking around the acquisition, the VMware acquisition from Broadcom, because many users are reporting some concern about that. So, and challenges you have in that scenario and concerns, some extremes that the industry is talking about. So, and looking at CloudStack as VMware alternative, the features that can support the user to migrate from VMware to CloudStack, personal skills that the company to have inside, and transition scenario, and after some conclusions. So, VMware was founded in 1998. So, and now in these years, recently this week it was approved the last by the China, so the acquisition is approved for most of regulators. And I want to say that VMware is a really great product, you know. I think cover the needs the users have with cloud features they need to use. For example, you have many parts of software they have in the vCloud suite related with virtualization, with vSphere, for storage, vSun, for network, NSX, and you have other products related to the cloud, vCloud products like vRealize operations, log insights, business for cloud, network inside, recovery manage, automation. So, but it's important to say that it's a great product, but I think CloudStack can cover most of these features they have. Not, it's a little bit different when you say CloudStack with other hypervisor, for example, to VMware. VMware is very well integrated product, so the stack they have work very well only with VMware products. So, in CloudStack, in another hand, you can use it to integrate different technology using the CloudStack. I think you guys saw in the media, in the industry, reports, etc., many concerns related with the acquisition from Broadcom. So, they report, for example, the concerns related with computer associated and Symantec acquisition. They report, I think you heard, for example, that Broadcom said that the history will be different with VMware. And, well, the problem is here, uncertain about price policy. It's important to say that the last year, for example, VMware increased its price by 10%. It's a massive price growing. So, and another problem about the price is how they will recover the investment, $6 to $1 billion of investment without change policy price. other problem I want to, other concern is related with compromised innovation. The previous acquisition from Broadcom, they kill a lot of products from Symantec, computer associating, let the users without these products that are important for most of the business of these customers. So I think it's a problem related with other problem related with proprietary technology rate about the vendor locking. So it's a user depending of the products of VMware when they decided to use. So it's too hard to see some exit hand to use another technology, different technology. So another problem related is the acquisition is with the others acquisition like computer associates. Symantec is the prioritization they have over larger customers and prioritizing only these kind of customers and resellers. So they let the smallers with a very big problem to solve after that. So taking a look at what Gartner, Forrester is talking about this problem. The first one they address is negotiate a long-term contract with VMware to do a very good deal, for example, before the acquisition is complete. But I told you recently this week is the end. You don't have it in the agenda anymore. So it's China approved the acquisition. And so I think it's too hard to negotiate a long-term contract with a good deal to exit for the VMware dependence in that case. Another recommendation the industry did is to find an alternative solution. And so we start to think strategically about what we can do related to VMware dependency, change pricing, this stuff, you know, is coming with the Broadcom acquisition. So you have, for example, from our experience, Shape Blue experience with customer days, after these news came from the market, so you are seeing 52% of new customer deciding to use CloudStack, for example, they are coming from VMware. So they started to find an alternative to use CloudStack as a solution to, by the way, to solve the problem, the business problem you can have in the future using VMware products and the uncertainty related to the prices and this stuff, you know. So it's a massive number if you get the 12 months later. So it's completely different game here. So let's go on. Let's take a look at the CloudStack as a VM alternative here. So it's for us in agenda is open source. The nature of the project is open source, so you can use and you don't have in that case, for example, vendor lock-in dependence because of this. It's important to say that CloudStack is different from vCloud, for example, product. CloudStack acts as abstraction layer of the technology you can use in your stack. So it's completely different of VMware because VMware products you need to use on a VMware products together. Another aspect is related with CloudStack is largely adopted by many different size of companies, organizations. So it's you can use it for smaller and to big implementation. It works very well. Recently, I think you guys can see, for example, many new features, interesting features, a really amazing feature coming in the new releases of CloudStack that prove it continuing constant development. You are doing innovation. The developers are working on the new features to let CloudStack better and better. So And it's important to say as well, VMware support only VMware is very clear. For example, if you decide to use vCloud, you work only with vSphere's hypervisor. When you decide to use, for example, CloudStack, you can use vSphere, you can use KVM, you can use XCP-ng, you can use Zen Server. So you have a really interesting platform to use and to decide the vendor you want to use as a hypervisor layer. So the recent innovation of CloudStack, you have some feature to support a user, for example, to migrate from VMware, right? One of these is, for example, users can use these features, the VMware ingestion, that enable it to connect directly with the vSphere API, and so you can inject the VMs into CloudStack and manage it. It's very useful, for example, if you are using and depend on the vCloud director, you can change it by CloudStack to orchestrate your infrastructure. And if you want, for example, another approach you can use in that feature is if you have a vSphere environment, you can use CloudStack, for example, to manage that instance. So it's a very interesting feature for support user to manage VMware environments. And there is coming in 4.9, the VMware to KVM migration. In that case, convert VMware instance, including disk and characteristic, into KVM instance. So in that case, it is interesting when you think to remove completely the dependency of a VMware platform, for example. It uses the Virtu-v2v and convert the instance disk from VMware to KVM. When you are thinking to change the technology in your company, I think it's very important to internally have some personal skills to have the control of the process you will have. I think it could be a very long journey to migrate from one technology to another because you are dependent of the another one. So you need to be prepared to manage these stuffs related with the transition. One is most important, I think, so is have control over the CloudStack knowledge, expertise, and to know how to manage it. Another point is need to have hypervisor knowledge. I mean, if you decided to move from VMware, for example, to KVM, I think you need to dominate both technologies to have a smooth transition between both hypervisor types. So for sure, networking security, I think everyone working with cloud computing knows that they need to have control over the network things. Automation orchestration to help you to faster migrate from one to another technology. And troubleshooting and support is different. I think VMware facilitating some aspect with login sites and other networking sites, for example, help you to understand and troubleshooting problem and understand what's happening in your infrastructure. CloudStack, you need to have more control, take a look in the logs. It's more complex in that scenario, I mean, for troubleshooting. So just to exemplify some scenarios here, let me address, for example, normally a user, when decided to use a vCloud director, they have this architecture with an API endpoint connecting to the user interface, automation tools, the stack of VMware running and managing the VMware vCenter and the host is SX, and providing the infrastructure as a service like the virtual machines in that case. So the first scenario I think could be interesting here is remove the vSphere and use CloudStack to remove the vCloud and use CloudStack, for example, to manage the vCenter, the vSphere hypervisor. So you can use it. I think it's more smooth. I think you need to think about how the user, how will be the impact with the user, because you will change, for example, APIs for automation, you change the user interface, you will change some parts of the implementation you have in your data center. So the value proposition in that case, thinking about costs, related costs, is around 30% removing the vCloud license. So, and you reduce the dependency on VMware vCloud in that scenario. I think it's much more common, for example, it's a scenario that there is a lot of users using it's just a vCenter managing the vSphere infrastructure. So in that, if the company is thinking to have something multi-tenant, a cloud platform running to manage their infrastructure, I think CloudStack can help just easier using the feature VMware ingestion, and then you can have your infrastructure managed by Apache CloudStack in that scenario. So the value proposition here is turn your traditional virtualization infrastructure into rich infrastructure as a service cloud using CloudStack. Another way is to remove partially your dependency on VMware. I think in most of the scenarios it's impossible to remove completely the dependency on VMware, because you have application dependence and something related to license regulation, this stuff, you know. So but you can, for example, remove the application that no depend on the VMware. In that case, you can use a feature to convert VMware to KVM in that case, and use a mixed hypervisor using Apache CloudStack to orchestrate both kind of hypervisor in that scenario. It helps to reduce over than 30% in that scenario, because if you are using, for example, the vSphere, the vCloud, for example, and vSphere in that scenario, you can remove a part of the vSphere license and remove completely the vCloud license. So, and the last scenario I want to show you is related to migration, the full migration. It's exactly, if you don't have application that depends on VMware, for example, you can use the feature to convert VMware instance to KVM, and you have changed the hypervisor layer by an open source alternative. So it could be interesting, and it reduce, you know, around 69% of your cost, or license cost related to the VMware. In that case, you are using a complete open source platform, and so you don't have dependency on VMware in that case. So, just to conclude here, we are considering just remove the vCloud director, so the measure result in terms of license cost is around 30%. It depends the negotiation you had previously with VMware, you know, depending of the size of your infrastructure, etc. And another, when you consider, for example, to remove the dependence on the vSphere and vCloud director, the number is 69% of reduction cost on that scenario. So, it's all. I want to ask you to questions and answer.
Right, thank you.
Thanks. So it's obvious what are the advantages to moving from vCloud Director to Apache CloudStack, but where are the main issues that prevent or missing features or something that will prevent users of vCloud Director to move to Apache CloudStack?
There is some feature that you use, for example, with vCloud, like DRS. It's one of the, you pay for that when you can use it, for example, with vCloud or using with a vSphere environment. So I think you are addressing it in the new release, a DRS system to manage this problem. So and the important thing is agnostic of hypervising that scenario. But I think the logging side, the networking side, you can have a troubleshooting the problem you have related with vCloud. You can see easier with the troubleshooting things. I think is most important. Another thing you need to address is related with if you have some automation, for example, around the vCloud. You need to change that. I think it's a very big impact because you need to change completely your code to manage vCloud.
Another question from Andrea.
Yeah, thanks, Marco. Joke question, why do you hate VMware so much? And I don't need an answer for that. I know it's a joke. And how did you come with that percentage number 69? Why not 70, for example?
Well, you get these numbers from some reseller here in Europe. So you get some quotation with over a lot of different resellers from VMware, and you compare it exactly with shapeable prices.
Any other questions from the room? All right. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you, Marco. And big
Thank
round
you
of
so
applause
much for
Marco.
everyone.